raspberry is green.
Okay, did everybody get the right handout for this week? So online it was the link that said Lab 4, but it really led you to Lab 5, College Woods. Yeah, okay, cool. So what's the ecology lesson this week?
Soft mass.
This week.
Oh, this week, hemlock woody.
Yes, so the ecology lesson will be hemlock woody diligent will be at 4 o'clock. And then the kind of overarching theme of this week is urban markets. So it's kind of a prep to like get you used to what you're going to see next week during the White Mountain stuff. But last week we learned about soft mass. Any questions on last week's ecology or last week's trees at all?
Can you just know the difference between black raspberry and red raspberry?
Yeah. So red raspberry and black raspberry. What's the cane or the stem like? Is it round or is it angular?
Right.
And what colors are it? Like the red one's kind of bluish, it has like that white bloom on it. Whereas the black raspberry is going to be kind of green with the white on the outside. What about the leaves? Both the raspberries have a whitish underside. The black raspberry has the shark fin. What would that mean? So like it looks kind of like it's like that, like a shark fin. And then the blackberry, that one has like big thorns, not prickles. So red raspberry has prickles, black raspberry has the bark and thorns, and blackberry has the angular stem and that are not really angular. Like when you unroll it in your hand, you can tell it's kind of like a square and blackberry is palmately compound, so you have 5 leaves or more that are coming up. Yes. Yeah. And the underside of blackberry is not going to be white, it's going to be green. Figure it out. Any other soft masked questions? Other tree questions? Alright, we're gonna head that way. If you can you have your group meet?
Well, it seems short. That's what I'm wondering.
That's not my group.
Yeah. No, well, they think somebody hasn't been coming.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna head. Did you guys see the total species list posted? Once you know a little bit about most of the families, you can kind of use those traits I was like, dang, I was there. The colorful one. I don't know if I got it right, but whatever. I got this. It's real wild. So what is the I did not do that. So on the last page of your handout, we have sugar maple. That's this guy here. This tree. This one, not this one. But these four here. And it's similar looking at like maple shape. And like this is the O Canada maple. Like, this is the Canadian flag maple. So it's an opposite each tree, just like the other maples are. And Eileen's way of knowing the buds is that they're very pointy, like a sugar cone, upside down, like point. And the leaves, if you look at this like terminal leader here, the sides of it are perfectly straight. Even though it's not a smooth margin, it's not very simple. It's not jagged though. And you have these kind of like U-shaped sinuses coming off the sides. That's really. And again, from a tall tree standpoint, is that going to help you? And the bark is pretty smooth. Because then it will have like some of those like patches where it's pretty rough. People even say it gets like lumpy, and they talk about sugar lumps in that regard. But this is one of your northern hardwoods that you will see in the White Mountains. And what kind of fruit do the maples have? Those little helicopter kind of things that are called chimeras. Economically, for furniture, sugar maple is also the one that you get maple syrup from, so it's a pretty good fueler of the state in. And thinking about kind of where this tree is right here, you think it's shade tolerant or shade intolerant? It's kind of flexible. It is shade tolerant though, and you can see that like some of the other trees are kind of shaded, but it is on the outskirts, so like that's not the best example. But it is shade tolerant. It can kind of grow anywhere, except that it needs fertile soil and it kind of likes a very neutral like 7 pH. And as opposed to the red maple, which has what color fall foliage? Right? Sugar maple will probably turn orange. No, I'll keep it hot. The red maple leaf wasn't kind of like broad and steady. And they kind of, the main veins of this leaf kind of go out in like a Y shape or triangle, versus the red maple is more like a curving towards each other. And the red maple bark goes from scaly kind of smooth. How about everybody get a good close look at this bud? And convince yourself that it is quite pointy. It's kind of like a needle. Any one of these maples will do for that. Yeah, oh, that's one here. Also, make sure you look up and convince yourself that it is an opposite branching structure. Sometimes it takes a little while to get to that point that you see it. Like right here, there's one where there's two really big kind of branches going out right above me. scientific name of sugar maple? Acer satara. And what's the scientific name for silver maple? Yeah. So that's an issue, but spelling is going to be important for you. I'll be flexible, but yeah, I agree. That's a really hard one. Yeah, I recommend if you haven't printed out the total family sheet, it is kind of nice to get an idea of like how many more maples will I ever need to know for this class. If you have things that confuse you, you can kind of see them side by side. For example, it's several pages long. It says 2014 on it, but it's updated. It's alphabetical by hand, so it's not going to be now we have 3 maples down out of 7. Or in that family. We'll get there. Any other questions on sugar maple or comparing it to red maple? Okay. Keep your quiz cards out. Down here. These are quiz trees, so the same tree. That's a nice bark. These are the leaves coming off of this tree. We got buds look like chickens. So spread out a little bit. Come by. Yes, feel it out. And I'll be over here. Alright, consensus? American elm. And what were your characteristics that led you to that conclusion? Corky bark, yep.
The alternating colors.
Yep, the layer cake color in the bark. If I use leaves, pretty rough. And what about the buds? Anything special about the buds? Pseudo-terminal buds, kind of zigzagging down the tree. One on each side. Nice. Good first quiz question. Let's go this way. kind of get around this thing here. We're gonna look at northern bush honeysuckle. It's not this plant, that's bushwood. But this plant down here and kind of along the margins over there. So you can move down a little bit if you want to. Everybody gets a good look. But so it's called northern bush honeysuckle. So it's a very smaller plant, kind of along the ground. Anybody want to take a stab at saying the scientific name? Yeah, Diarvilla lancera. That's perfect. So they say that it's usually a low arching shrub. It's kind of drooping over, not standing up straight like this buckthorn is. It's kind of like floppy. Probably less than 3 feet tall, you'll find it. And how would we describe the leaves? Finely serrate along the margins, yep. They are opposite. They're kind of egg-shaped. Nothing really too special about the shape of it. Pretty round.
How about this red?
The red main vein. You know, it's not on the sheet, but I would say from what we're seeing here, the main vein kind of towards the stem, it does look pretty red in almost all the ones I'm seeing here. The twigs though are supposed to be kind of like flattened. I agree with that. It's not, you try to twist it in your fingers, it's not totally perfectly round. Get what they're getting at there. They say the bark is shreddy at the bottom of the stem. Shreddy is a new term for us, I believe, this week. I don't know if I would agree with this description entirely, but it does have opposite leaves, and it is a small bush. What are the other plants that have opposite leaves so far? Mad dog, so maple, ash, dogwoods. And it doesn't really look like any of those other things, so that's a good clue that it's opposite. And it's a very low, floppy shrub.
So it'll always be small like this.
Yeah, you'll never see a bigger, like some of the dogwoods were kind of more verging on a small tree. They kind of had more of like what you would like, I don't know. See, like, I wouldn't call that bark. It's more like one little twig. Versus the dogwood kind of got to be a real tree when you saw it before, so. And the fruit, it's supposed to be in an erect, persistent, long, pointed, dry capsule. I don't think we have any of that here this year. So I'm sorry we can't see that, but you could see it in your book. These things here are kind of the beginnings of it. It looks like a bowling pin, almost. Like a bowling pin with like a weird, like alien head thingy on top. So pass that around. Yeah, those.
Are these leftover from the last one?
I believe that'll be the fruit for next year. Like the seeds are in there, and like that's kind of the structure for the winter. Yeah. You'll find it probably in a dry woods, or like a clearing, or like a rocky place. So kind of like one of those early successional species that kind of comes in when it has the opportunity, and it can grow and thrive pretty fast. Everybody got a chance to look at it, touch it, feel it. Yeah, there's more of the fruiting, beginning fruiting structures over on this side of it too. Questions, comments? So we're gonna exit when we came on this way.
I'm expecting we were going in the college woods, so I'm expecting some oops. There's a lot of oops.
We've done all those.
Yeah, we've done it before.
I guess it's
in the college woods.
I've heard that Jefferson has the shortest trail, but then it kind of is the hardest. It's like really steep.
It's all over rock, so you gotta get
I feel like it's a precedent thing. Yeah. Kind of. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. But now you guys will know some of those trees up there. Yeah, I just keep it on going. I did Tom the other day on the opposite side of the highway. I mean, next year I will. I know. Any other day. I know, but it was weird. Okay. Scoot down this way some more. It's going to be a quiz tree. And it's this plant here, this whole bush tree thing. You can get in here without passing any poisonous plants. So if you want to walk through here and back out, you're more than welcome, and I recommend it. So scoot in, scoot out, and I'll be over here for grading. Crazy person.
Yeah, well that's the problem, because if you like have multiple things connected correctly, but it's not the right way, that's
Okay, consensus? Red tentacle or gray dogwood? Yeah. Yeah. And what was your key clues? The red tentacle, yeah. Yeah, no, it's not juniper.
Wait, hold on. I have a question.
Yes.
So then, what is the cane of a? Is that like the stem?
For the berries, the cane is like, we can get out of the sun, sorry, we can go this way. The cane is like that main stem part, but it's not really a tree, so it's not like a stem, it's not a, it doesn't have bark because it's a bush.
Okay.
But yeah, cane, I would accept if we were talking about it, you could say stem.
Okay.
So is a bush something that doesn't get any bigger and a shrub a smaller, right? Or is it the other way around? Is that
That's not like a very, I don't think it's a very scientific difference kind of deal.
we were doing like, I don't know, something in biology lab. I have like
No. Let's see.
My arm's getting tired. It's fine. 40 minutes of toning.
With your arms.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I was looking out the
We've got to hold it like here. Yeah. You guys are a bit more on the move. Or you guys were so on the move, you were out of shot.
Yeah. Okay, here's a fun one. This is musclewood, which you might say is what the bark looks like. Looks kind of like a rippling mussel, like the way that it kind of like swirls itself and I don't know, yeah. So common name is musclewood, and I'm gonna just say musclewood because it's also known as. So we're introducing two trees in the birch family that are kind of similar today, and that's hop hornbeam and musclewood. And hop hornbeam is also called ironwood. And I'm never gonna use that name because I think it's too similar to musclewood, but you can do whatever you want. So musclewood is also called the American hornbeam, which I think is incredibly confusing. So, musclewood, that's this tree right here. It's a really, really hardwood tree. You probably will not find it in the whites. Sorry about that. It's just really hardwood. And I would say the bark is probably the most characteristic feature of it. It is in the birch family, so you do see kind of like these spur branches coming off. All these, this little tree here is also it. So if you wanted to get a close up of the buds or the remaining leaves, we can do that here. The buds, when you look down upon them, look kind of like a rectangle, as opposed to like being a circle or like being pointy. So definitely come get a look at that at some point. They look kind of like squished, but not like flat iron pressed, but they're kind of rectangular. If you look down upon it, like straight up. They're very slender twigs, which you can feel. They're kind of, I'm not going to break it in front of you, but as opposed to some other small trees that have pretty big twigs or the same size as the branching. They call this muscularity like sinewy sometimes. Use that language ever. But it's kind of, for the most part, you wouldn't probably see it any bigger than this. They kind of like some more moist, rich soil. And we're kind of like on the side of the stream here, so that makes sense. This is muscle. Definitely come up and see that bud.
It looks like muscle.
You don't see it?
Is it like the
It's kind of like the way that it's twisting and like it's kind of like ridged in some areas. It's not like perfectly rounded. Yeah, if you want to come over here and like see more of it or see it from a different angle, please do.
There's some poison.
There is some poison over here, yeah. You got socks on too. Yeah, and it kind of, it changes as you go up and down the tree too. So I think the bark is pretty distinct. On a smaller one, maybe not so much, but it's a very, very, like, it's very strong on a small tree. And do you think it's shade tolerant or shade intolerant?
Tolerant.
Pretty tolerant, I'd say, based on the fact that there's all these bigger trees around it. It is getting some good sun from being where it is, but it is kind of, it's definitely not as old as some of the other bigger trees around here. So you got rectangular bud and pretty distinctive bark. We didn't really talk about the leaves all that much. There's not too much special about it. I would call it biserrate, so there's like some serrations that have extra serrations on them. They're pretty thin leaves. Other than that, not too special. But they have a pretty cool fruit that I'm not seeing at all. It's kind of like, okay, this is right there. That's the fruits. They're kind of like, they look almost like the maple helicopters, but they're like stacked up on top of each other. And it's like, yeah, or they're drying out and they'll fall soon. But they're kind of like clustered together, little tops.
I feel like most of the trees.
I don't know. Evolutionarily, there must be something about having a serrated leaf that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it would have more. It would increase your surface area to be serrated or like have margins on your leaf. But I'm not quite sure why. People hold that thought. I don't know. I feel like that's like some potential research probably.
Does it help the wind paths? Does it break up wind better? So.
Oh, maybe. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like when they fall differently or something. I don't know.
Deep thoughts.
All right. How do you feel about musclewood?
Is this like?
I don't know that is. A lot of different trees will stump sprout, but not necessarily clonally. I'm not quite sure though. It's not a big characteristic. You probably wouldn't see a huge swath of muscle. You'd see it probably sporadic. Yeah, and feel free, if you see something that looks like musclewood and you want me to confirm that, I can go through different parts as we go along. Alright. Let me get out of this poison ivy alley here. And I think we'll do popcorn bean next to every fire. Like, I know it's in here. This is also a musclewood. Definitely not the hopcorn beam. The hopcorn beam has like shreddy bark at the bottom. It's not smooth. But then again, if it's really tiny, it's gonna look different. Maybe we'll hit it on the way back when I know for sure where it is. Maybe we're not there yet. I just saw the tree yesterday. Yes, here she is, the hopcorn bean. This is musclewood, yeah, great comparison. So they are in the same family, and they're very similar. They're actually, no they're not, sorry. They're not the same genus, but this is musclewood, great example here of that like rippling effect. And then this is hopcorn bean, Australia virginiana. Again, it's a very like, it has a pretty hardwood, not White Mountains hardwood, for us hardwood. And I was always taught to remember that Easter baskets, you know that like, that plastic shredding stuff they put in them, or like candy baskets. So shreddy bark, Easter hopcorn beam, if that helps you at all, good. If it doesn't, just remember the bark. But it's pretty much another small tree. This is probably one of the biggest you might see it, or maybe you see it a little bit bigger. But these are both alternate leaf trees, and this tree has a very similar leaf. It's serrated again, but it has a very, very different bud. It has lateral striations on it that go from like red to light green, kind of like in like a scaling overlapping pattern. So definitely check out that bud. They say the leaves are somewhat hairy as compared to the hopcorn, or compared to the musclewood. Sorry, this is musclewood. So see this tree here. It's supposed to be a little bit hairy. If you don't feel it, that's okay. The bud is very different though, so make sure you get a good look at that bud. And like stare at these two barks for a little bit if you have to. See if I can find you some of the fruits. The fruits look similar, like that little stacked up deal, but they are a little bit different. So. there are, if you look above Katie, who's filming, there are some brownish seed pod structures up there. Katie, I think sees them and has one camera. But you can tell it's like that kind of overlapping samosa-ish looking thing. And that's what its seeds are. So we have a similar fruit, but very different buds, very different bark.
The buds are almost like they looked kind of like
I think ovoid is the way they talked about them. Yes, ovoid. And also it's a pseudo-terminal bud. I don't think it's as apparent here as it is on some of our other trees that we saw in the past. But you can see like one of the buds is on this side, then it comes on this side. So you would expect this little twig to grow up again and the bud to be on the left instead of the right like it was this year. Historically, they use hop-horn beam wood as like handles and wedges because it's such a strong wood. The seeds are eaten by birds, like bigger birds like turkeys and grouse. Oh, this is fun. So buzzword that you probably don't need to know this, but it's fun. Allelopathy is talking. So it's not like an allele like in genetics. Forget that. I'm not going to talk about that. But allelopathy in trees is talking about that the roots are emitting a chemical that's telling the other trees around it that like, if you're not a hop-horn beam, I don't want you here. And so you probably wouldn't see like a baby oak or something sprouting up next to a hop-horn beam. That might not be like a good enough clue to tell you that's hop-horn beam if you just see that like, oh, there's no other saplings or anything. But other trees do utilize that, especially like walnuts and locust trees do that, like emitting kind of like a toxin, but it's only for trees that aren't your species.